and today is dating with purpose. Okay, so one of the reasons why I decided to put up dating with purpose is because of I believe young people are going through a lot of things in relationship, and then I know what it has cost me to be in relationships that I destroyed a lot of things. But thank God for God's grace. So we're going to be having a section today which is going to be talking about love and compatibility, and one of the reasons why is because of there's a difference between falling in love and at the same time growing in love. And what makes growing in love work is because of the understanding of compatibility in the relationship. So if people do not understand the place of compatibility, they begin to fight, and then the relationship begins to strive instead of it growing. So we're going to be having Mr. Hello. So we're going to be having Mr. Kingsley to join us, and he'll be talking about love and compatibility. So please let's wait as Mr. Kingsley join us. Okay. Okay, beauty. Hi. Beauty, hi. Okay, so we're talking about love and compatibility. So waiting for a speaker to join us now. Okay. So I believe that there's a difference between falling in love at the same time growing in love, and what makes growing in love easier is because of people understand that okay, I am compatible, we are compatible, so that there is an agreement between both people. But then if people just fall in love, it becomes very hard, and then it begins to strive. There's a strive in a relationship, and you see people begin to break up and everything. And this is what I've learned over time when you get into early relationships when I know I wasn't really ready. So we're going to be waiting for Mr. Kingsley, and he's a relationship coach. He's a purpose coach as well. This is very odd, very, very, very odd, and then he will be really dissecting some certain truth for us to understand. Thank you very much, Busy, for joining. And what else again? Okay, so we're just going to hold on for Mr. Kingsley to join us. Just in few minutes. Yep. Okay. Okay. Beauty, how you doing? It's been a while. Okay. So Mr. Kingsley is going to be joining us. So before that, for those who are going to be joining and for those who are here now, I believe that for a relationship to grow, there needs to be some sense of valued similarities between both people, and it doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be alike, but it has to be some sense. Okay, Mr. Kingsley just joined us now. I'm just ready. Ready. Okay, so let's have Mr. Kingsley now. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think network problem or okay. So I think I'll just make a quick announcement here. After this section, we're going to be having a couples from US, couples. We're having two couples from US, and then they'll be talking about building together in relationships. So they are married, but they bought their home, and they're still very, very, very much young. So they will be talking to us about building in relationship, building together in a relationship. So building together in a relationship. I believe a lot of people today in relationships that have lasted for 8 years, 7 years, and then there's nothing to show for it. And they say power, knowledge is power. So I believe the ability to actually understand what you're doing and the ability to know what you're doing gives you strength to go far. So like the previous session I had earlier today said that you cannot go, you said you cannot go more than you know. It means you can't go more than you know. You can't do more than you know. Okay. So I think that's very true. We can't actually do more than we know. So what you know is what you do. Actually, you can't do what you do not know. So if your relationship will work, it means that you have to know what you do not know to make it work. Okay. It's a Kingsley.
Hey, yo, what's up?
I'm fine, sir. I'm fine, sir.
I'm sorry I came in a bit late.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay,
We're ready for you. We're ready for you. We're ready.
okay. Wow.
Okay. Okay. So let me briefly introduce you. It's a brief introduction. It's like a tradition we do. So I'm going to briefly introduce you, and the floor is yours. Okay. The thing I like about Mr. Kingsley is it's very simple man, very simple man, very simple. So I'm going to introduce him right now. Okay. So Mr. Kingsley, also known as Kingsley Speaks, is a relationship and purpose coach, helping singles build the right relationship and live a life of purpose. So the thing that is Mr. Kingsley.
Yeah.
Thank you for accepting my invitation.
I want to say thank you. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Can you hear me very well?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I am so glad to be here. I love doing this. This is something I love to do, and it's my joy when I see people of like minds come together to want to disperse their knowledge by helping singles. Yeah, like you introduced me. My name is Kingsley. I go by the name Kingsley Speaks on Instagram. I help singles build the right relationship and live a life of purpose. And so that's my one line statement, which I love to tell people about because it helps me get it helps people get to know me clearly. So today we have something on our table, which is love and compatibility. Yeah, it's just you're doing something on dating with a purpose. Yeah, that's cool. And so like you said, let me start. Let me start on this. Um, it is very pertinent for every single out there to know that dating with a purpose comes with a responsibility on us. It comes with a demand on us. It comes with I don't want to call it a heavyweight demand, but it gives us a responsibility for us to know that we have to look at so many things. Because if we say we want to date with a purpose, then it means that we have to look at the area of love and compatibility, which is the bulk of everything, which is the bulk of everything, which is the bulk of everything. Yeah. So first, let me start by defining what compatibility is. It's a very simple word, and I'm going to try my best to make it simpler. Compatibility is the ability to exist together. Do you understand? It's the ability to exist together as a people. And so if I am with a lady, the question should not be, are we in love? No. The question should rather be, can we exist together? To get the point. And so this is extensive. This is extensive of just dating. I mean, you're not supposed to just date because you're in love. You should date because you guys have the ability to exist together, to live together. So that is what compatibility is. It is the ability to exist together. And so instead of you saying, I love this guy, I love this lady, the question should now be is, can I live with this person? Do you get the point? And so This is why it places on us a demand to be intentional about who we choose as a partner.
Mm.
Okay, so the ability to exist together is our responsibility. It is not anybody's responsibility. It is our responsibility. So we ought to know the person we can exist together. We ought to know the person we are compatible with. Do you understand? We ought to know if, are you guys compatible? Oh, yes, we're compatible. Although there are areas we need to check, which I'm going to explain in detail later. But I'm just trying to introduce us to what compatibility is. And I'm trying to let singles know that compatibility is extensive. It is deeper than love. And
Mm.
so, yeah, it is deeper than love. So when you see singles that are not able to keep a relationship, when I hear singles say, when I hear singles give excuses for not being in a relationship for at least a number of time, and you're someone who you've dated like four ladies in a year, and you are saying that the problem is with the ladies, but I am saying is no, the problem is not with the ladies, the problem is with you, because you haven't found I mean, you have a problem with being compatible with people. And that is why I
Mm.
tell singles that compatibility
Mm.
does not start in a relationship. It starts
Mm.
where you live. I
Mm.
mean, where you live, there are people living with you. So you should check how you live with people. And so if you are not able to be compatible with people at that level, I mean, your siblings, your neighbors, everyone around you, if they cannot attest to the fact that, oh, this guy is someone I love to be around, then that's where the problem is. So compatibility has to start from there. So we start checking from that angle. Oh, how do I flow with people? How do I relate? What is my relationship like with people? In your class, how do people see you? In school, how do people see you? I mean, in a space where there are two or more persons, there should be a constant record of you that I love this person. I love to talk to this person. That is how compatibility is
Mm.
built. Do you
Mm.
understand? It starts from that point. Do you understand? It starts from that point. So compatibility is deep. Now let's go into detail. Now, the synonyms of compatibility are agreeable, harmonious,
Mm.
united. Yeah. So we are looking at love and compatibility. And so without compatibility, love is not going to make sense. And that is why you find so
Mm.
many persons who have gotten married to who they love, but who they were not compatible with. And so you can love someone and not be compatible with that person. So instead of loving someone and not being compatible with that person, it is best for you to love someone you are compatible with. Be with someone you are compatible with. It is easier growing in love because we grow in love.
No.
So many people say, I fell in love. No, we don't fall in love. We grow in love. And so when you're with
Mm.
somebody who you are compatible with, you grow to love the person more. Do you get the point? You grow to want to be around the person more. You grow to want to shower your affection on this person more because you guys are compatible. Because you guys are compatible, because you guys can exist
Mm.
together, then it means that your love relationship is going to make sense. Now, I want to talk about something that is very, very important in compatibility. So many persons are in love, they are in a relationship. Now, that's fine. But they have not been able to attain that level of compatibility because they have not allowed themselves to be open. By being
Mm.
open, I mean intimacy. Now,
Mm.
for me to be compatible with the person God has brought my way, for me to attain that level of intimacy, I have to be vulnerable. I have to be open. I have to let my walls down. I have to bring every prejudice down. I have to bring every judgment down. I have to be
Mm.
me in front of her, and I have to allow her be her in front of me. You get the point? And so,
Mm.
intimacy and compatibility are intertwined.
Mm.
To be compatible with someone, you need to be intimate with that person. And to be intimate, it means that you have a responsibility of opening up. For example, I find someone I'm compatible with. I'm going to be sharing with us the levels of compatibility, the different types of compatibility. But the truth is, if I have to be compatible with this person, then I need to attain a level of intimacy. Now, I do not mean to introduce sex into this. Intimacy. Sex is not intimacy. It's just a part of intimacy, which God kept for us till marriage. Do you understand? But before then, we can be intimate and be compatible. And so when you're compatible with someone, for you to sustain that compatibility, you have to learn how to be intimate. And being intimate is also being intentional. You have to be open. You have to be yourself. You have to allow yourself be loved for who you are, for the person you are, and not for some external reasons that are fleeting and ephemeral. You get? And so I just had to chip in that point, because I've seen so many people who are in a relationship, but their compatibility, the strength of their compatibility is shaky. It is shaking because one or both parties are not opened up to each other. Do you get the point? One or both parties are being closed up. I've had situations when a guy is complaining that his girlfriend cannot open up to him. Now that is it. If you cannot get to that point where you're willing to open up to the other party, then it means that you are denting the strength of your compatibility. And so if you are in a relationship and you guys are in love with each other, as you say you are, and you guys want to attain that strength of compatibility where you get to the crescendo of it, then it means you have to learn how to open up to be intimate. Intimacy is also our job to do every day, each and every day. For you to attain that height of compatibility, you have to learn how to be intimate. And intimacy is built. You need to build intimacy. You need to build intimacy. You need to put all your strength into making your relationship an intimate one. Else, it's going to affect the compatibility of both parties. And like I said, I want to reiterate that intimacy is something that you have to be intentional about. For example, if I cannot feel free to mess up, if I cannot feel free to tell my partner that I messed up, or maybe I say, oh, he's going to, I assume myself to be a lady, and I say, oh, I'm not going to tell my boyfriend, he's going to judge me. Now, this is why you find some ladies having best friends outside their relationship, which now means that the best friend outside their relationship is affecting the strength of their compatibility in their relationship. So it is now my responsibility as a man to be welcoming and inviting. I need to flung the doors open for her to be able to come in. When she makes mistakes, I'm supposed to be the first man she comes to, knowing full well that I accept her the way she is and I don't judge her. So she can be willing to come in to me at any point in time when she has made mistakes. This is going to help strengthen our compatibility. Do you understand? It is going to help strengthen our compatibility. And so when she's doing something and maybe someone talks to her in a very, very wrong way, she knows that I'm the next guy she has to call, not her bestie per se, not her other friends per se. Because if I don't give her that room to come in, and if she doesn't give me that room to come in, a third party is going to come in to affect our compatibility. And so the strength of our compatibility is going to be affected when we are not intimate. And intimacy is our job. It's our job. It's our job to build. Do you get the point? Intimacy is our job to build. It is our responsibility to become intimate so that the strength of our compatibility would increase. So I wanted to establish that, because usually we take away the responsibility from ourselves and give it to someone else. For example, when you see that a third party is intruding into your relationship, what do you now think is the problem? Do you think the problem is the third party? No, the problem is not the third party, because there is a proverb that says that an enemy without cannot know what's happening without an enemy within. And so an intruder does not know what's happening in the house. It takes an enemy within to leak some info to an enemy without. And so the enemy without knows what's happening in the relationship because of the enemy within. But this can be curbed. This can be destroyed if both parties work on their intimacy, build their intimacy. Else, the strength of their compatibility does not increase. It does not get to that point where you are sure that this is the person I can live with. Do you understand? So I decided to establish that point. Now let me run to the types of compatibility, which I believe is very pertinent for us to know that there are types of compatibility. There are levels of compatibility. There are things we need to look out for in this thing called compatibility. The first I would love to make mention is the spiritual compatibility. The spiritual compatibility. Now, I know as Christians we have a base knowledge of this. We have a base knowledge of this wonderful fact that hey, you get married to a Christian. Now that's the problem. You don't get married to a Christian. You are not supposed to choose a Christian. You are not, no, being a Christian can be done by anyone. That is it. You're not supposed to fall in love with a Christian. You're supposed to fall in love with someone who you are spiritually compatible with, and that does not entail that the person is not in Christ. So if I say I'm going to, for example, so many people want to get a wife, and so they go to the church. So many ladies want to get a husband, and they go to the church. You have forgotten so soon that the church is like a hospital that is harboring sick people that needs to be healed. You don't go and pick up a sick person and start building a relationship. No, you will be dragged down. You get the point. So the credos that has been going on in times past, that the cliche that says get married to a Christian, I want to counter it a bit. You don't get married to a Christian. You get married to someone who is in Christ, someone who is spiritually compatible with you. So let me break that down. To understand what I just made mention of, the points I just made mention of in spiritual compatibility, you need to look at things like values, the values, the core values of this person. You know, in the church, you will be shocked to know that not everyone has the same core values. Not everyone has the same value system. Our value systems are different in the church. We are coming from different families. We are coming from different communities. We are coming from different paths that has contributed to make us to become who we are now. And so, if you say that I want to go to the church to get someone, then it means that you are saying I will take whatever I get. No, I will take whatever you say. No, you're supposed to take it easy and do some findings for yourself. What are your values? Do we have compatible values? I'm going to be making mention of these values. Now, one of the most profound of these values is this. When you hear people say, okay, often it is being preached that you for marriage, believe in no sex marriage. I'm an advocate of this. That you cannot tell someone who does not have a no sex before marriage in his value system that he should not have sex before marriage. I tell you, he will fight it tooth and nail. At the beginning, he might agree that, oh yes, there is no sex before marriage. The girl says no sex before marriage. The guy says okay, no sex before marriage. If it is not part of his values, if it is not what he cherishes so much, he is not going to execute it. No matter how much you try, if it is not part of his value system, if it is not what he believes, there is nothing. It's not going to be like no sex marriage to him. He is going to tell you, hey, if you love me, you will give me sex, even in the church. So what I'm trying to say is, do your values align? If his values does not, I believe when a man's value aligns with stuff like no sex before marriage, he is the one who initiates it. He tells you, hey, babe, we are susceptible. We are open to attack. We are beings with emotions. We are already in love, I know, but the emotions are strong. So we need to place boundaries. Now, this is how you know that it is part of his values. But if you're the one initiating it and he's saying, okay, no problem, my dear, if it is not part of his values, he cannot absorb it. And in no time, he's going to initiate it. And sometimes, so many ladies have fallen for this because at some point you begin to feel that you need to retain him. You need to keep him. And the way
you keep him is to give him sex. You get the point? So most ladies need to understand that if his values does not picture no sex before marriage, he cannot keep you in that way you want to be kept. He would not initiate it. He's not going to tell you no sex before marriage. He's going to tell you, let's see how it goes. And one of those days is antiques will lead you to the bed. Do you get? So value system must align. What are your values? What are your values as a guy? You guys should talk. What are your core values? What are those things you believe? Now, here are other questions you should look out to ask is who do you believe? Who do you believe? Do you believe in Jesus? Who do you believe? You need to know who this person believes so that you can be able to know if you guys are spiritually compatible. It would shock you to know that so many persons are Christians, but they do not really believe in Christ. And so they are legalists, they are free thinking minds, they are people who just accept things the way they come. They tell you how they tell you who did Cain sleep with before he gave birth to his children. They start asking you logical questions that would damage your thought pattern. Do you understand? And so this is how you now know that this person might be a Christian but does not really believe in the God factor. When you begin to hear questions that would challenge you to thinking on the wrong pattern, in the wrong line, then it means you need to really sit down. Ask questions. Know for yourself. The Bible says, by their fruits you shall know them. You know what a man is by what he does. You know who a man is by what he produces. You know the values a man has on the inside of him by the results he produces. You know the things that are inside of the man by the things he says and the things he does. So look at the fruits he produces. If his fruits are not in alignment with who you believe, that is Jesus, the Lordship of Jesus, then it means that you guys are not spiritually compatible. Now, who does he believe in? Why does he believe in what he believes in? Do you understand? What does he believe in? You need to really know. That is why I don't expect people to jump into an emotional attachment. Because if you're a Christian, you need spiritual compatibility. And that is it. You need to first, I want to reiterate, you need to first know his core values. Some Christians believe that the wife coming into their home must be pregnant so they know that she can conceive. These are family values that have crept into the kingdom and into homes, and because they are into their homes, they are in the church. And so you'll be shocked to know that so many ladies are trying to keep a man, and by trying to keep a man, they want to get pregnant for him to let him know that she can conceive. Hello, that's it. So you need to know values. For example, so many men, there are so many men that before they get married to a lady, the lady must pass through the disciplinary courtroom of the mother. And so it has to be the mother who makes the decision for him. Now, I bet you need to know these things. Spiritual compatibility is pertinent for you to know that, okay, can I be compatible? Does this person believe in the Bible? Or he believes in it's just one of those books that you read. Some other person will tell you Jesus is just one guy who came and did stuff and he left. He came and did one or two things and he left. So spiritual compatibility is deep. You need to know, if you're a Christian, you need to know if the person you are with is spiritually compatible. Has this person ever initiated prayers with you? Has he ever asked you, who are you becoming? What's your purpose in life is? Has he ever helped you in one way? Does he pray with you and for you? You know when a man prays for you by the things he does and the things he says about you. Does he put you in the court of prayer? Does he lead you closer to Christ? These things are simple to know. It is just that most persons fall in love before they start seeing these things. And you don't do that. Instead, you look for these things before you choose who you love. That's it. You choose who you love. It's your decision to decide for yourself, okay, I'm going to love this person. Somebody once told me something. I believe there are ladies listening to me here. A woman once said that she advised ladies to go for a man who loves them. Now, most ladies are going for a man they love. It's not bad. But look for a man who loves you so much that he can always do these things freely for you. She said that you grow to love someone. Now, it is going to be difficult for you as a lady if you see this guy and you know that there is nothing linking you to growing with this guy, growing to love him, because he doesn't even give you the things you need in respect to the spiritual aspect or context. So like I was saying, if a man pushes you to become better, if a man prays for you, you know he prays for you, not the one he says I prayed for you. You know he prays for you, he prays for you. He calls you up at night to pray with you. He gives you books to read. He talks about seminars. He wants you and him to go on seminars. You would grow to love this kind of man. That is spiritual compatibility. You will grow to love a man who wants you to become better. You will grow to love a man who pushes you to become better. You will grow to love a man who wants you to become the woman God has asked you to become. That is it. You will grow to love a man who has become a motivation for you to become a better woman. You will grow to love a man who has become a standard, a leader, a visionary, a man that is leading you on a particular direction, not a man who wakes up doing so many things every day. He wakes up to the same thing every day. You will grow to love this kind of man because women are in need of leaders and not just men to love. And so this kind of man is the man you can grow to love. This is the kind of man you can grow to love. So when a man brings spiritual truth to you, when a man brings spiritual things to you, like he wants you to become better in this respect, then this man can be able to build spiritual compatibility with you. Do you understand? So, ladies, guys, we need to look out for spiritual compatibility. I tell you, it is not going to make sense for you to wake up in the morning and you say you're going to church and it's asking you, what are you going to do there? It is difficult. I tell you, it's difficult to manage. It is not going to make sense when you're dating a guy and you tell him, hey, we have a 3-day program. I would love us to fast. And he said, fast for what? Who does fasting in these days? That is it. It is going to be difficult for you. Why? Because you would want to do all these things. Rather, you would be doing all these things on your own. And when you're doing all these things on your own, it is going to be tough. So look for a man you can build spiritual compatibility. Let me quickly recap on that before I move to the next point. Spiritual compatibility, I talked about values, spiritual values, the value system. What does he believe in? Who does he believe in? Why does he believe in what he believes in? You know who he believes in by the things he says, the things he does. You know why he believes in Christ, because of the conviction he has on the inside of him, the conviction that has bettered so many things for him. He can tell you of encounters he has had. Yeah. And what does he believe? So you should look at these things in tandem with yours. If it corroborates, then it means that you guys are in line in respect to spiritual compatibility. Now, the next one I'm talking about now is emotional compatibility. Yeah. I'm sorry to say, you can be spiritually compatible with someone who knows how to pray, fast, and do stuff, but this emotional compatibility, you guys are far from each other. So what is emotional compatibility? It is simple: parity, reciprocity. You give love, he gives you love. You give attention, he gives you attention. Yeah, you give emotions, he reciprocates. He is not bland to your emotions. You know you are with someone who loves you. Not the one somebody told you, the one you know you're with someone who loves you. The truth is, the way God created us as intelligent beings. The first person to confirm to you or to affirm to you of someone's love for you is you. You know it. It's just that most times we hide, we lie to ourselves. If you are in love with someone, for example, if I'm in love with a lady, not in secret, I mean, we are together and I'm in love with her. She knows. your heart would always tell you the truth. Your heart will not lie to you. That is one thing about us. Our heart has a way of telling us the truth. The way God created us, our heart is the reflection of who we really are. It shows us what we really want, and it tells us what we really want. And that is why so many people are living in regret, because at some point they met someone who they know loved them, but because they couldn't handle it. Yeah, it's difficult sometimes to handle things like this. Because they couldn't handle it, they let the person go. They live in regret and they say, if I had known. Now, I met someone at some point in my life I loved, that loved me so much, but I wasn't able to handle it. So people like this live in regret even while they're with their new partner. Do you understand? So the point I'm trying to make here is emotional compatibility is about parity, it's about equality. When you're with someone who gives you reciprocity, someone who loves you the way you love him, someone who is open, someone who is willing to give as much as you're giving, someone who is explicit about you, someone who is ready to go on the long haul with you, someone who cannot but tell you and tell everyone that they love you. The book I posted from, I think, an hour ago on my wall, in that book, is he really interested in me? I talked about a few things there. I talked about being explicit in love, like you knowing that this is the person you want, and the person knows that this person wants me. I talked about someone knowing what he or she wants. This is emotional compatibility. When you're with someone who you can tell, your heart can tell that, yes, this person loves me as much as I love this person. Not someone you would have to do too much. You would have to beg. You would have to pursue. You would have to get a number of you have to get a number of rejections for being accepted. You would have to be judged 1,001 times. You would have to do too many things. You're doing too many things to be loved. Then there is no emotional compatibility. You guys are just there. And when they ask you, are you guys dating? We are just dating. We are just there. So this is it. We all need to get to that point where we seek for emotional compatibility. Someone who you know loves you, and someone I know loves you. That is it. That is the crux of emotional compatibility. Someone you guys can tell yourself that, oh, we know we're in love. When you come from spiritual compatibility, that's the first one. When you get emotional compatibility, this one now gives us a responsibility to be not just in love, but to be available, to be responsible, to reciprocate, to be in not just present in a relationship, but be available. To let your partner know that I am loved. That is it. Emotionally, it is emotion. It's something about emotions. And so it can hurt and it can destroy. Emotions can hurt and it can destroy. And that is why emotional compatibility is very, very important. To make this very practical, I'd like you to look at relationships that you've had when you had to be the one doing everything. Practically, the other person is just there. And so you wake up in the morning and you check your phone and you don't see a missed call on your phone. There's nothing like that. You don't get a message, but you are the one. You have to be the one to do it. And when you don't do it, maybe she says that I was waiting for your text. For crying out loud, it is not a one-way thing. It is a two-way thing. It comes from here and it comes from here. And when they come together, they form a strong bond. If you are the only one pushing the relationship, if you are the only one making the relationship work, if you are the only one being available, if you are the one struggling to make everything look like it's your relationship, not our relationship, then tell yourself the truth. You guys are not compatible. You guys are not. You are not at that point where you build for yourself a synergy that can help your relationship. Do you understand? And so the last point I would talk about now is intellectual compatibility. That is talking about intellectuals. Like, for example, for someone like me, I I would love to be with someone who can. Yeah. I love to be with someone who we can think. That is intellectual compatibility. I love to be with someone who I can call, say, hey, what's up? I have this plan on ground, and we can sit down, brood, brainstorm, and come up with a solution. I would love to be with someone who can bring something out. Although I know I have the responsibility of giving in, helping her grow, become better, I would love to be with someone who can help me. And that is, I'm drawing this context, I'm drawing this from biblical context. Because when God wanted to bring someone to Adam in form of a partner, God first made mention of the position before the gender. He said, I would make for you a helper. He first made mention of the position before the gender. I'd like to make mention of this striking point that you are looking for a helper. Most people don't know. And so a helper would entail that you are looking for someone who can help you, not just financially, but intellectually. If you're a man of vision, you need a woman of vision. I don't know how to put this, but if you're a man going to somewhere, you need a woman who can put you there. If you're a man who has a purpose, you need a woman who can support you there. And one point I love to make mention of is this: when we talk about the help role is not for everyone. When God said, "I would make for you a helper," if God made mention of the word helper, then it means that definitely you and I know if I'm going to help you, then it means I have more to give. That's it. Anyone that would help you has more to give. Anyone that would help you has something to offer. No empty person can help. No empty person can help. And so you're looking for compatibility, look for intellectual compatibility. Someone who can help you at that level where you need. If you're a lady, for example, if you're a lady, you called into the worship ministry. For example, look at somebody like what is it, Joyce Meyers. Joyce Meyers is into full-time ministry. Have you asked where her husband is? Many persons don't see that angle, but I like to make mention of this: that if the husband has not been supportive, then she wouldn't be where she is. Oh, Sinach is up there, that she has a husband who is supportive. Intellectual compatibility entails that you are looking for someone, for me, someone who has something to bring to the table. Now, for some persons, it's not a problem. But if you are someone who is going on a direction, on a purpose in life, then it means that you should look for someone who is also going in that line to be able to bring something from their intellectual capacity to the table. Do you understand? Another example of intellectual compatibility is this. I've seen people who they say, a friend of mine said he must get married to somebody in the medical line. I must get married to someone in the medical line. So that is it. That is his level of compatibility, the level of compatibility he desires. Intellectually, because he's a medical lab scientist, he wants someone who is in the medical line. So the question you should now ask yourself is, who do you want? In what field? Because tell yourself the truth, because this would complement you as a person. This would complement you as a person. So many men who are in ministries are looking for a lady who is ministry minded. Do you understand? So intellectual compatibility, it connotes that you look for someone who works in line with the way you think. That's just the crux of this whole thing. someone who walks in line, someone who would think the way you think, someone who would love what you love, someone who would want to do what you want to do, someone who would fall in your scope of reasoning, someone who will fall in your scope of thinking, someone who would fall in line with what you love to do intellectually. Do you understand? And so love is not going to be enough. For example, I know you as a guy. Okay, let me just say you'll be a guy. You're a guy who would love more of brain works. Okay, you do a lot of brain stuff. You do a lot of brain things, the purpose thing, and everything. You would not want to be with a lady who every time you guys meet, she wants to go on a party. She's telling you about her friend who has a party and you guys need to go. And when you say where is the party, she tells you, okay, the party is this and this kilometers away. But you guys would have to take an Uber, and when you check the amount, you're spending so much. And so when you guys want to go for the party, she tells you that hi, you guys need to get new clothes. That's a big party. For crying out loud, you look at this girl and you're like, do you think like is your brain actually working? Do you make use of your brain? Like, is it really working? Because what you are looking at something futuristic, but she is looking at something just above her nose. She is not futuristic. That is it. It is because of the kind of person you are. And so you look for someone who can think like you. That is when you've attained intellectual compatibility. At that level of where you think intellectually, how do you think? Look for someone who thinks that way. That is a balance. That is striking a balance intellectually. For example, you see people who are in ministries like teaching, like lecturers. You see them get married to themselves. You begin to wonder how. You see educationists, and you see their children go in that line. Kind of, they choose towards that direction. It is because they've built that pattern for themselves. And so the man was looking for someone who loves to read, a bookworm. Oh, to that man, a lady who came out with first class is going to be beautiful to him. You get that? A lady who is doing well in school is going to be attractive to him. That is intellectual compatibility. To that man, a lady who does not associate with too many friends, but is always reading a bookworm, he's always seen her in the library. Oh, I'm going to see her in the library today. So he goes there to woo her. That is the kind of lady that he likes. Do you understand? So intellectual compatibility is also something to look out for. Look for someone who can strike a balance with you up there, someone who can help you think and help think in your own direction, someone who can bring a balance to what you bring into the table. So you should look at yourself first, then look at, can this person think I want her to think? I'm not going to be forcing it on her, but is it what she wants? That's the point. If it is not what she wants, then you cannot make. You might be in love with her, but it's going to be painful because you guys are not intellectually compatible. Do you understand? So I've been able to bring out my 3 points, and I believe this has been able to. I've been able to shed light on this topic. Yeah, because it is pertinent for us in this generation to know that love and compatibility is not something to toy with. It is not triple, it is not mega, it is big. Like I said, one of the lines I made, you are not just looking for someone to love, you're looking for someone to be compatible with. You're looking for someone who can exist together as a unit. Someone you can live together. I once made a post when I said that you're not looking for someone to love, you're looking for someone you can live with, someone you can be compatible with, someone you guys can do life together. That is compatibility. And that's why I was able to make mention of these 3 points to help us get the best of knowledge we need while we are in life, in the jungle called life. Because out there is rough. Yeah, out there is rough. And
Wow.
if you
Wow.
don't know
Wow.
about what you need to
You know,
know,
I
so
noticed
many
I
persons
noticed
will come and
people,
trample on
some
you and
people are
do what they like
steady
to do.
watching this thing.
Yeah.
And
So
I
that's
noticed people,
it.
they love
It's been a
relationship,
good
but
one,
this
eh?
gets up. No, Gbenga, I see you. You steadily watching on it. So I believe this thing is empowering somebody. And I see minds are changing, and I see that belief system are being renewed. And Mr. Kingsley, I want to say a very big thank you for accepting this invitation. And then I hope to have another section with you. And I believe that's very, very important. You know, some time ago, when I had this dating purpose, when I think I was 16 or 17, and then I saw how marriages are destroyed, and I saw how things were very hard for people. And I told myself, no, this thing is coming from the very beginning. Very, very beginning. It's not something that just see, things just don't happen. And I said, okay, we need to address issues from the very beginning. So if you want to see better marriage, we need to start addressing dating. We need to start addressing the relationship. And I'm so grateful that you're able to honor this invitation. I'm so grateful. So grateful. And I hope to have another section with you. Thanks very, very much, sir. Please, let's say thank you, please. Great guy, see you. This. Yes. Hmm.
Thank you. Let's do something some other time, or maybe sometime soon. We do something again, or we could even do a series. We could do a series. I think we should do a series. Yeah, I think we should do a series. And we should talk about we talk about it. Find something to talk
Hmm.
about, so we could keep doing this because it's important for us to keep doing this. Why? Because you don't know the person you're helping out there. You don't know the person you're saving out there. There are lives that are dependent on the knowledge you have,
Wow.
we have by God's
Wow.
grace, but we
Thank you very
cannot
much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
let out
Okay,
these
guys,
things
so we're going
if
to be
we
allowing
don't
Mr.
talk about
Kingsley
it. So we need to
go now. So
find
thank
a
you very
way
much,
of
guys, for
talking about
joining.
these
And
things.
Mr.
Maybe
Kingsley,
we'll do a series
thank
on
you very much, sir. Thank you
something that
so much.
we see how it goes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. I want to say a big thank you, Miss Sue. So sorry, I don't know the name, but thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Benga. That's my boss. And thank you very much to Christiana. Thank you very much for Mrs. Faith. Miss Faith, sorry, Miss Faith. And I want to say very thank you. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. And thanks to Mr. Kingsley. He's a great man, a very great man. See, man, I was blown out, you know. And thank you very much. So we'll meet next week. We don't know the speaker that's going to come in next week, but we'll know that we'll meet next week. So thank you very much, guys. Bye.